Oh, hello. I'm Sketch.
And I'm Shades.
And this is
Guys, thanks for joining us for another Geeking Out Midstream. How's it going, Shades?
I'm well, Sketch. How are you?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. Guys, if you are joining us, quote unquote, live, then that means you just listened to us tackle the Sonic verse.
It was pretty fast.
It was pretty fast. We covered it all with the help of a good friend of the pod, Tim Hoshi.
So good to have him.
Thanks again, Tim Hoshi, for joining us and really blowing our mind with some Sonic facts.
Oh my goodness, Alex Kidd.
And the origin of Eggman.
Oh,
that was disturbing. Guys, if you didn't listen to the episode, go back and listen.
Listen to that.
It was a doozy of some revelations.
It was
in the Sonic
startling revelation for the origins of Eggman.
Absolutely. And guys, also thank you for being patient with some of the technical difficulties we've been having. It's a brand new world.
It is.
And I think we've ironed out a lot of the bumps in the GoCo.
Here and there.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah. And thank you to all of you who have head over to our Patreon and become Patreon subscribers. We're so glad to have you with us, and we'll be uploading more exclusives there shortly. We
got a big exclusive coming up there.
Do we ever?
It's a doozy.
We'll talk about that a little bit at the end of this episode.
Tail the episode, yeah.
Was that a Tails pun?
It was kind of a Tails pun.
Was well played.
Miles Tails Powers. Is
that his full name?
That's his full name.
Okay.
Tails is just a nickname. And hopefully we'll get more of him in the sequel.
But Sonic is not a nickname.
Sonic is his God-given name, apparently. Yeah, I don't want to give too much away because if you didn't listen to the episode, the origin is crazy. But yes, the name Sonic apparently
blew
predates
my mind.
A lot of other things that happened to Sonic.
Yes.
So it was very fortuitous name.
Oh my goodness, that origin story. Cannot
Crazy.
Get over it.
No.
Sketch, do you have any take backsies or corrections from Sonic the Hedgehog?
I don't have any take backsies. I have a reiteration and an additional.
Okay.
Something I forgot I wanted to say.
Cool.
My reiteration is I once again fully support Tom and Maddie's relationship. I think they have a strong relationship. And I don't know what Rachel's problem is. Rachel, let them live, let them love. They are. I actually wrote in my notes watching it, I was like, Maddie and Tom are kind of couples goals because they're so on the same page.
They do seem to have figured out the code of living their lives together, lives apart, and winning the distance relationship and splitting their time and everything that goes with that.
A little bit of give and take.
Yeah.
And through all that, putting up with a toxic sister-in-law. Just
toxic.
Kudos. And JoJo, good on you for looking past your mother and appreciating what Tom and Maddie have. That's the kind of role model that JoJo needs. So I'm glad she has that. The thing I wanted to talk about that I forgot to, and it's so little and so minor, but do you remember in the bar fight scene? Where
I fucking love the bar fight scene.
I know you do. And Sonic is just about to throw down. He has just said his iconic line.
Poorly disguised hedgehog who's seen way too many action movies.
Yep. And then he jumps up and he punches the punk, the biker dude in the face.
Nothing happens.
Was it just me, or did that look delightful?
Yes.
It looked. I want a Sonic massage, so much. Those little felt gloves, just punching at rapid fire. It looked so relaxing.
Oh, Sketch.
And I don't know if that's the stress of the world coming out. But on my second viewing, especially, I was like, that just looks like spa treatment right there.
Maybe the stress of the world coming out, Sketch.
Yeah, it might be.
It very well
still,
may be.
And I'm not saying I want to get punched in the face repeatedly, but he could do like, oh, you can work out the knots in your back.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious, Sketch.
And those soft little gloves. The gloves, his gloves, they never come off.
No.
His shoes come off in the movie.
Correct.
And his shoes show a lot of wear and tear.
Yes.
Obviously so, because he is such a runner.
I'm led to believe that those are not gloves.
Yeah, I guess that's what the big
weird,
question
right?
I was going to ask. Yeah.
Right?
Because Tails also has them.
Does. Owlie did not.
No. Longclaw did not have gloves.
Longclaw did not have gloves or shoes.
Again, because she was a leftover. I
100% stand by that.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it on that one. And I think the echidna had gloves too.
The echidna also had gloves.
Maybe it's just like the way their fur grows around their hands. Maybe. But they look very glovish.
I was just surprised we made it through that entire episode without falling back on the Knuckles meme that is very popular right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is a big one right now.
Quote unquote Ugandan Knuckles, even though that is a poor misnomer for him. It's just a poorly rendered Knuckles.
Maybe we'll really lean into that when the sequel comes out. If Knuckles,
maybe, yeah.
If Knuckles makes a big debut. I mean, that's all I had to say about Sonic. Did you have anything that you wanted to add or retract?
Just that I really enjoyed it and appreciate all the hard work that went into fixing Sonic.
Yeah.
I did watch an interview with Jim Carrey recently that they were done filming their parts for months before they saw the trailer, and that's the first time they saw the rendering of Sonic. And quote unquote, he had his concerns, just like everybody else, and was glad that that everyone else shared his concerns and changes were made.
I never really considered that, and it's such a good point that like the actors involved really have to go in with faith, some blind faith that the visuals are going to hold up to the quality of performance they're giving.
Yeah, Jason Marsden was acting opposite a blue pillow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
some grade A.
What a underrated actor. He's done quite a few features where he's acting opposite like a Post-it note. Is it Enchanted is like the one where all the Disney characters come to life?
Oh, was he Prince Charming in that?
He was Prince Charming, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so, that is Enchanted.
He's fantastic opposite a Post-it note or a pillow.
Yeah. Yeah, he can act circles around a Post-it note.
He can.
Yeah.
Good. So good on them.
Good. And he was Cyclops too, right?
He was Cyclops. Yeah. Less good as Cyclops.
Less good as Cyclops. He's also in Westworld. Very, very different ends of the
CGI spectrum.
Yeah. So good on you. And good on the studio. Again, I guess we'll just end with that with our Sonic discussion.
Yep.
Good on the studio for fixing
Strong agree, Sketch.
What the fans saw.
So. That wraps our Sonic episode. And longtime listeners, if you did not listen to that episode, it's a good one. It's a good time. And like we said at the top, it was so good to geek out with Tim Hoshi. Thanks for making that happen.
And he really brought the research.
He really did.
He really uncovered a history of Sonic that I had legit no idea existed.
You might say a hidden history. What a plug. And guys, I know everyone's asking, Tim Hoshi has made it home safely. He has, yes, finally.
He is no longer trapped in the Go-Go.
Wow, I feel really bad about that, Sketch.
Less
so?
Less so.
He did turn off your Sonic cartridge.
Yeah. The Go-Go's a great place to be. What can I say?
Yeah, it's, lots of things to occupy your time.
Yep.
But Sketch, there are some things happening in the geeking out multiverse that maybe we should just follow up on.
Sure.
Comic production, comics producers are ramping back up for the month of March and April. Diamond Select, which is the main distributor of most physical comic books, shut down. And in solidarity, initially there were some grumblings as to whether or not they were going to keep printing. In solidarity, they also, DC and Marvel, the two biggest comic retailers, in solidarity stopped distributing digital copies to, as kind of a lock arm in solidarity with their physical storefront distributors, who really would have taken a hit, closed to begin with. And then, if people were able to get their digital comics, there's really no incentive to go back and get the physical book.
Right.
So, as we're kind of, I don't know, some states are coming out of this thing and people are starting to move around a little bit more. Shipments of physical books are coming back, and distribution of new digital comics seem to be coming out slowly. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an evolving story.
Yeah. Do you ever think it's a little too much real world in our fake worlds lately, Sketch?
Lately, the real world goings on are so powerful. They are
crossing over,
really affecting our
shaking the foundations of our fake worlds.
Yeah. And there's not much we can do about that in the Geekverse, in that
right.
These beautiful fake worlds that we love are, for better or worse, made in our world. And so when our world is affected, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Bound.
Sketch, you got anything you want to bring up, share with the LTLs?
Yes. This past week was, for if you don't know, it was May 4th, which of course is May the 4th, International Star Wars Day. Yes, Intergalactic Star Wars Day.
May the 4th be with you.
And may the 4th be with you. And this year, for my observation of the holiday, I sat down and I finished Clone Wars. I told myself, I watched like the first half. I gave it some time to catch up, and now I'm just going to watch the last chunk. I think I said myself 5 episodes, right, at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. The finale of Clone Wars is 4 episodes long. It is, for all intents and purposes, a movie that's just been split into 4.
Okay, so
chunks.
The final season of Clone Wars is just 4 episodes.
No. It's more than that. I think it's maybe 12 episodes in total.
But the last 4 are like a movie.
4 are a movie. It's a single event. It is amazing. And I was geeking out harder than I have for anything in years, I would say.
Wow. That is
high praise. And I'm going to go ahead and say this as well. I'm pretty sure I now consider the finale of Clone Wars the pinnacle of Star Wars. I think it is the best that Star Wars has been.
That is high praise.
The man in charge, Dave Filoni, keep him in charge of all continuity, because the way he was able to completely organically tie together all of the stories, literally all of the stories. So you had the prequels represented, obviously, dovetailed very nicely into the original trilogy, but there were also small, subtle references to Solo and to Rogue One in ways that were not fake, were not jammed in. They just flowed. And it was like poetry, how well everything came together. I was texting a friend of mine, longtime listener, Emily, who's a big Star Wars Star Wars aficionado. And just in talking to her, I was like, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's like kintsugi. Do you know the Japanese art form kintsugi?
Yes.
For if you're at home, you don't know what that is. That is a form of pottery that Japanese artisans make, in which they take the ceramics, break them intentionally, shatter them, and then mend them back together with gold. And the idea is that this art piece, this vessel, is not ruined by its breaking and its shattering. It is actually made more beautiful by the fix. And that's what I think Dave did in the finale of Clone Wars.
Wow.
The way he brought everything together,
that's high praise, Sketch.
The universe is better for it. The Star Wars universe is better for it.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, he was the main writer along with Jon Favreau on Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and I'm also not surprised that Ahsoka Tano will be migrating over to Mandalorian now that Clone Wars and Rebels seem to be wrapped.
Obviously it's not the end of Ahsoka Tano, but such a wonderful end to that story.
Right.
Of Clone Wars, where we had kind of been robbed of it twice. Once when it was taken off of Cartoon Network, and then it was finished, quote unquote, on Netflix.
Right.
But then Disney scooped it up, and we never got that closure. And I was cautiously optimistic going into the final season because I was like, Disney, is this like a cash grab? Like, oh, everyone who wanted to see Clone Wars end now has to. It was honestly a project of love.
Well, fortunately, Sketch, I have many email addresses and have once again signed up for Disney Plus for 7 days.
Highly recommend it. I mean, you can blow through the thing. I will say
on it.
The very middle of the season, there are 3 main arcs in the season. So the first one is very good and it centers around Rex. The second one centers around Ahsoka, and it didn't grab my attention. I was just watching them. The final finale, best Star Wars.
Wow,
best it's ever been. I'll stand by that.
I can't wait to. I can't wait to dig into it.
I can't wait to get your texts as you're watching it. I plan to rewatch it as well because it was just that beautiful.
My texts are usually such a roller coaster of like joy, elation, outrage, indignation. So I apologize in advance and stay tuned.
Yeah, longtime listeners, for those of you in the know, you know that Shades and I are actual real life friends, not just radio personalities. And for those of you who know that, you think, well, how can Sketch be surprised by any of Shades' scores? And that's because the texts and messages I get during a property is almost like someone with multiple personalities.
I love it. This is fucking awful. I hate it. I'm never watching it again.
Things go from the very worst to the very best within minutes of an episode. And
it's like, I have to learn to not like live tweet you, live message you as I'm watching and just let it sit for a minute. But usually you get my reaction in the moment.
Usually I do. And it's entertaining when it's something I've already seen. When it's something I have yet to see, I usually then enter it with trepidation. But this time I'll anxiously go on that journey with you.
Maybe Sketch, I should head over to my Go for Shades Twitter and live tweet my experience.
Then everyone
everyone can experience the insanity along with you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that, Sketch.
Yeah, do that. I'll answer back to you on Go for Sketch.
Okay, that might be how we have to do this.
Sure. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away on Clone Wars, but it is beautiful. If you've been a fan of like anything Star Wars ever, it's well worth watching. And if you're out of email addresses, it's well worth the $7 month to watch those finales.
I've got like 2 or 3 left, so I'm going to save those.
This is worth an email.
Okay.
Oh, so good.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Sketch, were you a fan of Ghost in the Shell back in the day?
This is kind of controversial, but I watched it, but I was never huge into it.
Okay, I'm specifically talking about Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, like circa 2001, 2002 Toonami.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember it.
Yeah. Not a Ghost in the Shell fan. Okay.
Yeah. It's just that that kind of story, that kind of futuristic
cyberpunk heavy philosophy.
Yeah.
Like, are we here? Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? What is the meaning of it all? Sure.
Yeah. Sometimes I can't get behind those. If I'm like ready for that, if I'm like getting into something because I know it's that, then sure. But Ghost in the Shell, I wasn't expecting that, and then holy moly, I was lost a lot.
That's fair. I loved Standalone Complex. I loved the sequel that they did, Second Gig. It was hard for me to watch Second Gig because I didn't have cable at the time. That came out in like 2004, 2005-ish.
Okay.
Which was like right at the height of craziness, like intense college for us.
Mm-hmm.
So my viewing was not what it is today. Let's just say, but Netflix out of nowhere, I didn't even know this was happening, acquired the rights to the new Standalone Complex sequel, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex 2045, and it dropped at the end of April. The English dub dropped on May 3rd. I didn't have any idea it was even happening. It appeared in my recommendations 2 days ago. I'm finished with the first 12 episodes, and I absolutely loved it.
Awesome.
And it was so cool to see them bring a show that was, very philosophical into, now the viewing habits of the 21st century. I realize the original came out in the 21st century, but it was still like the sensibilities and storytelling of like the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Star Trek, everything's philosophical. Not every episode builds into another. We're much more in the vein of serialized content now. The episodic stuff doesn't really exist anymore except on networks. So it was really easy to see them like take the Section 6 team that, just a very minimal spoiler, at the end of Standalone Complex Second Gig, they disband Section 9. All of the characters seem to go their separate ways, and then to pick the story back up 20 years later in the show and 20 years later in real life was really cool to see where they are. And it was very not Ghost in the Shell. And then as the series progresses, it very much becomes Ghost in the Shell. And it's scary that the story that they were weaving 20 years ago has paid out in the show now, and eerily mimics the world that we now live in.
Wow.
And I just think it was the story is so well done. The animation style, it was a little jarring. It looks like a little bit like early 3D video games. If you remember like Virtua Fighter and Virtual Cop, like a lot of anime is doing this now. It's like the 3D CG as opposed to cell shaded to make the 3D computer art look like two-dimensional traditional anime. And that was a little jarring at first. But as the series wore on, I started questioning what was real and what was computer animated, because a lot of the backgrounds are just, it's interesting to see characters moving, because I'm really wondering if it was actual actors on a giant green soundstage wearing green suits doing mocap that they then animated the character designs over. And some of the backgrounds that they put in that these characters are moving through many times is like a static image of a real environment.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, or real environments that they've then animated over certain things to make it fit their world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like at times a character's wearing a jacket and the jacket is real, but then everything that the jacket's not touching has been drawn over in 3D computer graphics. It's just mind-boggling, because by the end I was like, I don't know what's real anymore. If these it's so bizarre. It's like the next iteration of Who Framed Roger Rabbit almost.
And I'll have to check this out, even if it's
alone,
just for the visual.
Yeah, the visuals were crazy. I didn't like it at first, but by the end I was like, this is really interesting to see a cartoon moving with the mechanics of the real world.
Yeah.
So high praise. I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to the second season. And, second season, we, in an upcoming episode, we talk a little bit about this. It's 24 episodes and they're splitting it into 2 seasons. So maybe we'll actually get a third and fourth legitimate season if this does well. But Standalone Complex 2045, really enjoyed it. And if you're looking for something else to watch, check it out.
All right, I'm going to check it out.
Awesome, Sketch. That's really all I have, Sketch.
Yeah, that's all I have too.
Cool. Your haircut looks really dapper.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
the missus tried her hand at a little, I don't know.
Makes for great
Shortening.
audio, but I'm giving 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, and I'm happy with it. I was getting so just flipping uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was right there with you a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
It's almost time to try it again. I'm a little worried that second time around, we'll see what happens.
You made out well the first time.
I did. It's going to be interesting to tempt my luck again.
Yeah.
But, I got this woodsman beard going on now. We'll see how that turns out too.
I'm hoping this is pretty short. This will last me.
It's going to last you.
Yeah,
it's going to last you a while.
Returns a little bit to normal.
I think so. Yeah. I think it'll do well for you. But real world stuff aside, should we talk about our upcoming episodes?
Yeah. Let's talk about next week's episode.
I'm so excited. I am so very excited.
It's a what did I call it? A spectacular?
It is a spectacular.
Yeah.
Longtime listeners, we are going to be bending time, space, and reality, and pushing the GoCo through the walls of reality into the DC universe. I don't know if it's the DCEU or just the DCU at this point.
They don't know.
They don't know. We don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
But we are going to be deep diving all things the Maiden of Madness herself, Harley Quinn, and I've been waiting to do this for a while. We're going to be talking specifically Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn, and
the Harley Quinn animated series.
Exactly, Sketch. And we're going to be doing that with a very special guest, friend of the pod. You know her from such features as Big Hero 6, Young Justice Outsiders, Voltron Legendary Defender, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. We are bringing back our very special guest from episode 31, Gargoyles, and we are going to be sitting down once again from a distance with Zara Fuzzle, voiceover artist, actor, comedian extraordinaire. We had such a good time talking to her, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear this episode.
Yeah, she's just wonderful to talk with, and brings with her a different perspective than we have, because we're outside looking in
right
to these worlds, but she can shed a little light on what it's like inside.
Yeah. and does yeah. So yeah, it's so wonderful just to like sit down with good people, and like we've talked about this before, when you like meet someone who has like brought life to a character, and like there's always a little trepidation, like, are they the person that you want them to be? And it's so awesome that Zara is such a wonderful just good person, not only a good actor, but just like an awesome human being to talk to.
So there you go. She'll be with us next week in the
next
GoCo.
week in GoCo,
talking all things Harley Quinn.
Yes. And we're really excited for you to hear that. And Simultaneously, we will be dropping a Patreon exclusive where Zara kind of brings us into that world of voiceover and projects that she's working on, and her take on the world of animation and voiceover in general. And you'll be able to hear that at patreon.com/shadesansketch. If you want to become a patron and get access to that, we are running right now our very special Geeking Out Kids Club for adults who are still basically children. And you can get that welcome pack complete with memberships card. Sketch, you really outdid yourself with that one.
Thank you very much.
And a lot of other goodies, some trading cards, some posters. And that is all over on our Patreon. Patreon.com/shadesansketch.
Is the Cats offer still out there on the table?
Yes, it is. When we hit those 10 patrons, we're gonna watch and live riff on basically Cats over on our Patreon. And we just need 8 more longtime listeners to become patrons, and it's feline frenzy time.
It's cat time.
It's cat time.
It's cat time. And boy, I thought Sonic was going to be our furry episode, but it was just the appetizer for a chance.
Release the
butthole cut. Come on, guys. 2020.
I don't need to see that, but I'll watch it if I have to.
Yeah, same here.
Sketch, should we throw the old GoCo into forward and make our way?
Absolutely, because we have such a fun one coming up.
We do.
And I am anxious to get to it. So guys, be good, be safe, be healthy.
Social distance.
All that good stuff. Watch the finale of Clone Wars.
Yes, watch Standalone Complex 2045.
There you go. And guys, we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.